investment property for sale in Florida. Welcome back. Today's episode is all about investment property for sale in Florida. Now, I'm Ted Thomas, and I've been involved as an entrepreneur and a real estate person for the past 30 years. So we're going to really learn a lot today. You want to learn to make money in the state of Florida, you're in the right place. Now, I've lived and worked in Florida for the past 20 years. Now, in that period of time, Florida has grown by about 3 million people, 3 million new residents. It's now the third most populous state. Think about that. California being number one, Texas number two, and now Florida. So this state is really growing, and that means real estate prices are on the rise. Why are they rising? Because so many people are moving from other places. Currently, Florida has 22 million people, according to the governor. And the governor says 22 million and growing fast. So approximately 1,000 new residents move to Florida every single day. So think about that. State's really growing. So you're in the right place to learn what you want to learn today, and that's what our episode is all about: investment property for sale in the state of Florida. Okay, the largest markets in Florida stretch from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, and then they come up to West Palm Beach, okay? That population, about 6 million in that section of Florida. Otherwise, there's another large population and really a metro area that surrounds Tampa, St. Pete, and Clearwater, Florida. About 3 million people there. Now, most people know Florida because of Disney and all the parks, and sure enough, that's Orlando, Kissimmee, and Sanford, okay? Now, all of those places are metro areas, and Sanford and Orlando have about 2.5 million. There's one other big metro, and that's around Jacksonville with another million. So Florida is really well spread out. Most of the state is rural, and as a matter of fact, there's a lot of rural land in Florida. So we'll talk about that on another video. All right, so according to the Department of Employment, over 80,000 new jobs are created in Florida every single year. So this episode is all about investment property for sale in Florida. Now, according to the Department of Real Estate, single-family homes in the past year, they showed price increases which are phenomenal, as much as 17%. Now, that's a lot of money. Florida normally doesn't grow at anything like that. It might be 2 or 3%, but we're having this huge inflationary surge into the market, and it'll probably end up being more than 17%. But I'm talking to you at a time when the markets really are suffering with inflation. Now, I say suffering because the people that have money in the bank, they're really losing money. So deeper research will show you about the rental market. So the rental market in and around Miami, Fort Lauderdale, you're going to have to pay $3,000 to $4,000 to rent an apartment. Now, it's about half of that, around the $2,000 to $2,200 level in the Tampa area. So everywhere in Florida isn't expensive. But certainly the stretch of land that goes from West Palm Beach south into Broward County and on into Miami-Dade, that's a very expensive place to live, and the real estate is expensive. All right, so where are all these people coming from? Well, they're coming from the states that have high state income tax, like New York and like New Jersey and California and places like that. People are coming to Florida because they don't have to pay state income. Now, there's other reasons they come here. We have good weather most of the year, a little hot in the summer, but other than that, there's good weather. And we have more beaches than anybody in the world, or at least anybody in the Northern Hemisphere, that's for sure. So there's a lot of beaches here. So there's a lot of reasons to be in Florida. But today, what are we talking about? We're talking about investment property for sale in Florida. So let's kind of get into this, all right? So the population is growing, the taxes are low, there's no state income tax, and the government is pro-growth. So you've got everything that you want if you're an investor. So that's why people consider this a tropical paradise. Now, hopefully that won't change, but obviously we're attracting newcomers because of the weather and the low taxes. All right, so this is a good place to do your real estate investment, whether you want to do it in land, whether you want to do it in rental property, or whether you want to just buy, own, and hold. Okay, so real estate, it can be many different things to many people. For some people, they just want to buy and hold. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's been traditional. People have done that for decades, for hundreds of years. They just buy it and hold it. So maybe your grandfather, your Uncle Charlie bought a property, and now it's double or even triple in value. But if you want to make money with property, in other words, when you buy and resell, you're probably an investor. So you're looking for investment property for sale in Florida. So who are you going to talk to find out about that? Well, if you're going to do land, you want to find a land broker. You don't want to find a residential broker because they know a lot about residential. Now, residential is easy to appraise. It's easy to figure out values. It's easy to sell. Now, land is a lot more difficult to sell, but it's a lot more difficult to evaluate because there's all different sizes and shapes, and it's not all confined in one place. And it's hard to get comparables on land. 4 acres here and 6 acres there, 100 acres over here. It's all different kinds of land. So it takes a little bit longer. So I solved that problem for myself, and I solved it by figuring out one kind of real estate that I could buy and always get good pricing on it. All right, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, and it's really a subset of the real estate business. Now, real estate, as you probably know it, is houses. It could be some residential land that's buildable. It could be small apartments. It could be small farms. You're getting the idea. It might be some acreage, 2 acres, 4 acres, that kind of thing. So there's thousands and thousands of people employed in that business. They're going to have brokers. They're going to have agents. They're going to have attorneys. You're going to have title companies. You're going to have handymen. You're going to have appraisers. You get the idea. So a lot of people are involved in that business. Well, the subset is the same properties, except what's happened is the owners don't want the property anymore. And when they don't want the property, what they do is they stop paying taxes. Now, I don't know why they don't want the property. Maybe they lost their job and they can't afford it anymore. Something's happened that they're not paying the taxes. So that's the tax defaulted land business, tax defaulted property business, and tax lien certificates. So I have students that I've taught to buy those properties. Now, why would you want to buy into that market? Well, I'll tell you why you want to be into that market. Because that market is a market where the local government confiscates the property. Now, they don't just out and confiscate the property. The legislature starts out and says, look, everybody in the state has to pay a tax. If they don't pay the property tax, then we're going to demand that the supervisors or the county commissioners demand that the county treasurer go out and levy tax, try to collect the tax. If they can't collect it, then confiscate the property. Now, when they confiscate the property, what are they going to do with it? Well, they're going to resell it. They just want to resell it for any number they can get. So they'll discount those properties 60, 70, and 80%. All right, so I don't have to do a lot of appraisals. I can figure out what the tax value of it is by finding the tax assessed value, and now I know they're going to discount it 60, 70, 80%. That means I'm going to buy it at a pretty good price. Now, those properties will be auctioned once a year in every county in the state of Florida. As a matter of fact, every county in the United States, all 3,000 plus counties, will auction these properties. So I have a student comes along, wants to start buying the property. So I teach him exactly what to do. To go to the auction, find properties that are a bargain, go look at them, don't buy them unless you look at them. So he finds a property that's valued at round numbers, $100,000, a little less than $100,000. But the starting price at the auction is only $9,000. So he bid $9,000, nobody else bids. All right, so now he's bought a property basically for 10 cents on the dollar. Well, he didn't just do one evaluation, he did appraisals. So where would you do that? Well, you could do that on the multiple listing, you could do that on eBay, you could do that by checking properties in the neighborhood. You're getting the idea. So you could check and see what the values were. Turns out Zillow said the property was worth $235,000. So let's hold on. Let's do these numbers again. We're going to put them on the screen for you. First of all, the property value starting bid is $9,000. He pays $9,000. However, it had a tax assessed value of $100,000. So he knows he made himself a pretty good deal. He's ultimately going to want to sell it. So how does he know he made a good deal? Well, he could check comparables in the area. He could also check with the multiple listing service. He could evaluate the property. When he does evaluate the property, one of the checks that he did, he checked with Zillow, and Zillow said it was worth $235,000. So he went to the people that were renting the property and said, would you like to buy the property? And they said yes. So he did a lease option with them. They gave him $5,000 down payment, and he sold it for $170,000. All right, let's do the math together. He paid $9,000. He got $5,000 of the down payment, and he sold it for $170,000. How many deals like that would you have to do in your life? This market is just like every other state. There's going to be properties go to default. When they go to default, the county, because the property was defaulted on taxes, is going to confiscate the property and resell it. The county does not want the property. They just want to get rid of it. So they auction the property, usually very close to the back taxes. So my student bought the property for $9,000, resold it to someone else with a $5,000 option fee, and he sold it for $170,000. You wouldn't have to do too many deals like that in your life. Now, will they all be that good? No, but the point is, this is a business that's very stable. All right, so what's happening in the marketplace today? All right, the market's always going up or it's always going down. It's doing one or the other, all right? It just so happens that right now, while we're recording these videos, the market's going up, and according to the National Association of Realtors, it's gone up more than 17% in Florida this year. All right, all properties won't do that because some people don't take care of them. So the student finds a property on the auction list, all right, buys for the minimum bid, and then resell it. You can do the same thing. This has been going on for years, okay? How many years have been going on? It's been going on in the United States for over 200 years. I did not invent this. This has been going on. Tax defaulted property are nothing more than a subset of the regular real estate business. So think about what we've talked about here. You could learn all parts of the business you want, but I'm certainly going to suggest that you learn about the tax defaulted part of the business. Now, there's a couple of cautions you have to make. When you want to buy one of these properties, you don't want to just get the list and buy what's on the list. You want to go there and look at it. So step number one, always have boots on the ground and have looked at the property before you ever purchase it. Step number two, when you're there, figure out what you could sell it for. If you don't know what you're going to sell it for, certainly don't buy it. So you need to have an exit strategy. That's very important. So those are the two things. Now, why do you want to look at it? What if there's a hurricane tomorrow night? What's going to happen to the property? What if there's a fire? What if it's next to a chicken farm? What if there's a huge rainstorm or a windstorm or whatever? You always want to look at the property before you buy it. Now, my name is Ted Thomas. If you'd like to see what an auction list looks like and have a sample list, you can go right below me and there'll be a sample list and you get your first list free.